Hey everyone, we'll get started soon. I'm just sending out a reminder tweet and in the announcements channel. So this will be a pretty regular AMA. Luke will kind of introduce ourselves, go through what we're doing, what we're trying to create here, and then follow up with some we had an update today, so we'll talk a bit about that, what you can expect in the next sprint. And then, of course, we will answer all of your questions. So I will be monitoring the general chat in our Discord. So please tag me, Pixel_Heidi, or a couple of our community members, Hans or Dom, in any questions you might have, just so that we don't miss them, because we do copy and paste them into another channel just so that we can make sure we have like a solid list going. So yeah, we'll just wait for a couple more people to come in and we'll get started soon.
Also super excited for this one today. The team is in a pretty good spirit right now, or at least I am personally feeling really good about what we're doing, feeling great about the direction, feeling like a bit more focused as well too. So really excited to get you guys in, explain to you guys what we're doing, where our minds are at, how we're building, and all of that too. So we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks for joining us, guys. Today's been a really exciting last couple weeks. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you guys don't normally get to see. And there's been a lot of progress being made in terms of like what we're building, how we're thinking about it, what we're doing, and just like a refocusing too. And yeah, I want to touch on a few different things in this AMA too. There's some things that have been going on in the space that have made us even more bullish on what we're doing, on what our approach is, how we're thinking about things too. I kind of want to give you guys a deep dive into like what I'm seeing in this industry, where I'm seeing trends, and what we're trying to avoid. That's really big. And then a bit of info on our game design, the process, how we're actually developing out like the internal workings of this company too, because that's something that you guys don't see, which I just feel like we're so insanely far ahead of on any other Web3 project, which is like a pretty good signal to this project. And then two or three is we want to go into like philosophy about like how we're doing this, why we're doing this, and all of this too. So I've given a blurb on like what Pixels.online is a lot. If you guys haven't heard that blurb, we're building a play to earn game built around the NFTs that you already own. We're being pretty interoperable, and we have our own land NFT. That's the central like core piece of our game. The main sink, or the main faucet, sorry, that has resources coming into our game. We released this NFT 2 months ago, Farmland by Pixels on OpenSea. We're VC backed. We're backed by Animoca Brands. They're our lead investor. Pico Investments, a syndicate of 50 angels, including the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes, Fitbit, Crunchyroll, 9gag, Redemption Games, COO of Twitch, etc. Like 50 angels of that caliber who have been very helpful. I just met up with them in person about a week ago. Awesome time, lots of good mentorship there. And OpenSea also joined around too. And with all of that said, I'll just give you guys some updates and like how we're thinking right now. So yeah, the NFT world is really interesting because you get all of these stakeholders into whatever you're building, which is great. NFTs are an awesome way to shortcut basically into getting people to care about what you're building and get them skin in the game. It's all about aligned incentives where if you get a group of people who really believe in what you're building, it's a win-win situation for everybody. It's also interesting because you also get people who aren't necessarily into the system or the ecosystem for the right reasons. I want to talk like really briefly on just some stuff in the industry I've been seeing and give you some like peeks into our mindsets and how we're thinking about this and how we're building. If you guys saw, some really big news that I've been following is Axie Infinity's release of Origin. It's really interesting because I think Axie Infinity and their whole team has a really good mindset now about how they're building and how they're actually approaching this space. However, I think they're almost in this position where like they're a little too late on some of their things too. So NFTs and play to earn in this ecosystem provides a really interesting opportunity to create these win-win scenarios for people who care about what you're building and who care about like the way that you're going about things. Axie Infinity, they got a lot of their initial traction through thinking about play to earn and like more of the earning sense, where people got kind of involved into this ecosystem with more of their financial incentive involved. With more of the financial incentive involved, where intentions were completely centered around like, okay, how can I make money playing this game? Which is an interesting philosophy there, and it's a really interesting mindset. And like the whole UBI, the whole like universal basic income thoughts, and like explorations they were doing there was super, super interesting in my opinion. However, they realized themselves that that ecosystem they were creating wasn't sustainable. A lot of the reason beyond that was because it was kind of relying on people coming into this ecosystem. Um, and their whole currency was kind of reliant on like more and more people coming into this ecosystem. They kind of realized in order to make the system sustainable that they needed to start to focus on gameplay and start to focus on people coming into this ecosystem who actually care about their game. So that was a huge product push on their end, where they've actually released this new feature into their game, Axie Infinity Origins, which is targeted F2P, like free to play, and it's targeted towards people who are more centered on gameplay. However, I actually think they did a pretty good job with it. If you look into their product and you look into the sentiment from the community, they started building that community with a whole different set of people who actually didn't care about their gameplay, who didn't care about what they were building. And now they're trying to focus on gameplay. Basically, they got that user base through the earn aspect of play to earn rather than the play aspect of play to earn. Their whole community is just like not super excited about what they're building. And it's actually pretty apparent now that like their community actually doesn't really care if they release new features, better features, or like if the game got 100x better, a lot of their community like doesn't care. It's like all their conversations around SLP, all their conversations are around prices like that too. So we've been taking a backwards approach where what we actually want to be doing is focusing on community and game first, making sure that this game is fun, that people are here for that people are here for the game first and foremost, because we're trying to create an ecosystem similar to what they're doing. But I think that backwards approach of making sure that we have the right community, the core group of players, and focusing on fun, focusing on gameplay loops, and focusing on actually building out a great experience for people is first and foremost the thing that we need to do to make this sustainable and to make sure that this ecosystem can hold up. So when we're building, that's exactly how we're thinking about this. And it's really interesting because we've actually been trying to avoid traditional like NFT marketing things or like traditional NFT schemes. Like we get contacted by alpha groups all the time. We get contacted by like various things like that as well too, which we've been actively avoiding because it's been extremely important to us to foster a community of people who really see what we're building, who see that bigger picture, and who see like what this space can be, the whole play to earn gaming space, if it's actually executed on well and like brought to its full potential. We're so bullish on the fact that play to earn is the future of gaming, that it's a better experience for gamers in general, and that we're actually building something that will make the world a bit better through play to earn. It's a much better ecosystem for gamers. It's more equal. It's more fair. You actually own the progress that you make, and it's just a better system all around for gamers in this space. However, if we build this with the wrong intentions, if we build this in the wrong order of operations, that mission that we're like going towards, that like ride that we're trying to take all of you along for, gets kind of convoluted. And there's a lot of noise in this space. But basically, this team is really trying to focus on this vision of building out a good game experience for everybody in this ecosystem. And just to be clear on that too, when I say that still, we still intend to make land the centerpiece to this ecosystem. We still intend to reward people who are here early with us too. Like that's the intention. Like what we love to do and what we love about play to earn is we love to create these opportunities for people who believe in what we're doing early on and reward them. That's been the intention and that's what we're focused on this entire time, unchanging. However, that really does mean that this team needs to focus completely on building out this core game experience for you guys, the landowners, and for other people who are coming into this ecosystem as well too. And we really fully believe that if we pull this off, like all of us are going to do well. This is a win-win situation. It's just going to take a bit of time for us to actually figure this out and actually to implement on this too. And it's going to mean that we kind of need to make sure that the community that we're with, like we're not we're staying focused on this vision and we're staying focused on like how we're actually going about this. So that's kind of what we've been doing, how we've been thinking. And that's actually how we've been setting up the team too. So we've been deep diving so much into like what the best gaming studios are doing, how they think about how they build games, and really deep diving, taking inspiration from that. We have a deep tech background, all of this team. Every engineer on this team is extremely competent. We've hired only CTOs onto our engineering team right now. And it's actually funny because we have another CTO in our pipeline who we're actually hopefully about to hire as well too. Potentially another one after that as well. So we have a really deep tech background. And now what we've been doing is we've been going deep into the game industry, trying to poach the best game designers that we can, making good progress on that too. But this team has been deep diving into like core game experience as well too. We've been setting up this company in a way that really embodies like creating a good experience that people are going to love. We think that's a core to play to earn or play and earn. And we think that game experience, first and foremost, needs to be the center of things, which we know that's actually not the most popular opinion in this space. And I guess if you want to come along for this ride in this project, that's how we're going to be doing this. That's what our focus is. And if you guys, like, I don't know, if you hear that and that gives you a red flag, like, I don't know what else to do other than apologize. But that's actually something that we're so bullish on, and that's kind of the core thesis here. Where if you guys want to get involved into other projects who don't really care about that experience as much, or who don't really like think about things in the long term as much, then I would honestly encourage you to get involved with those projects rather than ours. But that's going to be our focus. We're going to continue to deliver utility around what we build. We're going to continue to like make this game as best as we can, basically, and we're going to continue to try to reward the people who have been here early and who believe in what we're doing through that. So with all that said, we're continuing to build out these game loops. Um, Game design is quite tricky, and it's actually super, super important to get all that right. So we're closing these game loops now. The team has been making like a really awesome effort to figure out like what that last kind of feature is like, and it's actually coming together now too. 2 weeks ago, we were like looking at the company from like a high level overview, like on the mountaintop looking down, thinking, okay, if this project isn't going to succeed, like what are the things and risks that we need to be looking at? And like figuring out this core game loop, like basically this last mechanic that we need to really engage people and to like get people to like actually have fun in this game, was kind of like that core risk. Like, okay, is this team going to be able to figure this out? Is this team going to be able to come up with something novel, or at least something that like works in this space? And what's awesome is like we have so much more confidence that we're like moving in the right direction around that. We have so much more confidence that we're like closing this loop and coming up with some awesome things. So that's in the works. That's probably going to be like a couple of sprints out before we get a mechanic like that done. But that's like how I've been thinking about and like the main focus of this group. Okay, how do we actually make this experience complete, fun, and then worrying about tokenomics and like how we actually do that afterwards. In the same time, though, we can still go through, talk to you guys about like, okay, how are we going to be rewarding people who are here early, all of that as well too. Initially, I was pretty like gung ho against like, okay, we're not going to do something like staking until it actually makes sense in the game world, until it actually makes sense in like how we're actually going to be building out this game. However, staking actually is probably one of those tactics that we can use, even like retroactive staking. Where we kind of just like look at how long people have held and give a portion of like the initial airdrop that we're going to be doing to see this initial economy to holders who have held for a long time. This like shared belief in the project benefits us, having people here who are in this ecosystem playing our game and who actually like what we're doing, like engaging with this community, engaging with the game, playing it, giving us feedback. That's all super, super valuable to us. And that's something that we want to reward. However, what we don't want to reward is people who like actually don't really care about what we're doing at all. That's not beneficial to us. That's actually bad for the ecosystem too. If you're just here on this project, because you got an alpha call and you actually don't care about what we're doing and you're trying to flip it in 3 or 4 days on the backbone of like some good news that we have, I don't know what else to say other than that's actually not aligned with what we're doing here. There's a much bigger goal that we're focused on, and the team's going to maintain that. So again, this is a bit different than other NFT projects, but we're here to build. We're here to really do something in the space, and that's why we got VC investment. That's why people like us in general, and that's something that we're going to stick to. So all that being said, I know that maybe comes off as like unpopular in some ways. Hopefully not. I hope some people hear that and it really resonates with them and they like what we're building and they really agree with that. But that's the mindset here. So in other news, there's been a lot of progress being made on the product. And there's some background stuff too that you guys can't see right now. So I'll just kind of go over all the updates in terms of teams, in terms of product, and then we'll go and open up to an AMA and ask or answer any questions. So as far as the team, yeah, the team is making it's last bit of hires right now. We've basically developed a whole, or like we've hired a whole gaming studio basically. So from the beginning of this project in January, there were 3 people working on this project. Now we basically created an entire gaming studio ground up in the last 2 months, which has been absolutely insane. We have an extremely high level of talent here in the team. And it's just been awesome to be building this out. So the last couple of hires that we need are, or actually, no, we just hired a UX UI designer. Her name is Ariel. She's joining us today. I think that was, yeah, today was her first day. So UI UX, user interface, and like user interaction is extremely important to what we're building here. We're trying to make a game that is really easy and simple and intuitive to use. We want to appeal to people who have never used crypto before. Ideal situation when we're building this product is it's going to be people's first introduction to crypto in general. And we want to make that experience seamless, really easy to use. Things like setting up a wallet, things like getting your wallet seeded, all of that. That experience, like we're all used to it being in this crypto space. However, 99% of my friends have literally never set up a crypto wallet, and like we're in tech. So getting people more familiar with crypto and onboarding them through gaming is kind of the idea here. And that's kind of what we're building. So UI UX, we're super excited to have Ariel join us. Really need the position that we just filled. We're bringing on more ops help. And we're like making final hires on our creative team too, which will kind of plug all these gaps. So the creative team we built is stacked. They're coming up with so many creative ideas. We're nearly finished solving this whole game loop problem. We're doing all the modeling in our like ecosystem right now as well too, figuring okay, how can we actually mathematically balance this game? That's all getting worked on and should be like closed up pretty soon. And then we're building out stuff as well too. So in terms of what we built out these last 2 weeks, again, if you guys aren't familiar with this project, we use sprints. That's really common in the software world where basically every 2 weeks we release features. We're building in public, so we're actually releasing these features directly to you guys every time that we get something out for you guys. We released a new quest and the whole new quest system, and that's going to be one of the initiatives that we take on over the next couple of weeks too. So the quest system was rewritten. Basically, there's a huge focus on our end for the next couple of weeks of like focusing on first user experience and making sure that when people go into this game, they know what to do. They know what things are like the objectives. That was a big criticism of our game before. And also we're working on making sure this game feels more like a game. I don't know. It's funny because like a lot of gamers or a lot of people are playing this game with like not much game experience. But if you go into this game, you can just tell there's something that's kind of missing right now to actually make it feel like a real game, to make it feel like, I don't know, Stardew Valley-ish or like relaxing, all of that too. So we're focused on building out that first user experience and then actually building out more features that make this feel more game-like. So music, sound, more animations, things like that. So yeah, we released that first quest today of that initiative, Barney's Quest. We want to make the onboarding process more engaging and easy to understand. And just a couple of notes on that too. You need to complete that quest before you farm anywhere. And we're ironing out some of the bugs that have just come out with that release as well too. The second thing that we've done is we posted or built out the land manager. So if you don't have time to build out your own farm, if you don't have time to customize it, now what you can do is add new roles and permissions to your land that let other people customize it and build it out. So you can add up to 3 wallets onto your land where they can actually be building out your land, managing it for you, and you don't have to do anything. They get access to the world builder, and they'll still be subject to your tax rate. We've fixed a bunch of integration bugs, and then we've also added a player leveling system too. So that's like one of the other big changes that you guys will have noticed in this update. And then there's just been a ton of behind the scenes work in terms of our tech stack as well too. So just some history on this product that we built and what we're going for now is like a lot of this tech stack was written by one person. And we're rewriting some of it just to be a bit more stable, to reduce the number of lag, to reduce the lag, to reduce like the number of bugs in the code base, and to increase the development speed. So that's like a huge thing that this dev team has been working on and like starting work on over the last week. And that will take a large portion of this next sprint as well too. So it'll be a bit of an invisible change to you guys, but end user experience will be so much better when we get this rewrite out. And it'll just be a much better experience for all of you. So what's coming next? Yeah, that rewrite. We're working on staking, and then we're working on getting our initial tokenomics set in stone. and communicate it to you guys. So that was the value add of adding one of these investors like Animoca Brands and PKO and OpenSea. They have people and resources that we can tap into to get all this sorted. We have world class help helping out with this. So I just encourage you guys not to worry too much about that. That's exactly why we raise venture capital. We get access to tap into all of that, and we intend to use it. So yeah, expect a lot of design to be happening over the next couple weeks as well too. We're finishing out our game design mechanics. Like we've done a ton of work on the narrative side, world building, and then we've been like designing all these new mechanics that are coming out as well too. The cooking mechanic will be coming out this next sprint. Um, there's like a whole recipe building. There's a whole recipe building mechanic within that cooking mechanic. It's actually like quite nuanced, and there's a lot of like emergent gameplay that can come out through that. And we're coming out with like a lot new or a lot more things around narrative and things like that as well too. So expect a ton on the quest side, expect a ton on cooking, and then like the core thing that you want to see from us. If you guys have questions in 2 weeks of like, okay, what did you guys do? That was like the most important thing. It's all around game design that we need to figure out the next 2 weeks basically. So getting that last mechanic sorted. The plans that we have for that are actually quite cool. We'll like give you an update on that more and more as we flesh it out. But when we do that, it'll be pretty sweet. Um, we're looking more into inspiration from games like Clash of Clans to close that initial game loop, and then we'll be building out MMORPG tactics after. But all of that getting sorted, that'll be quite interesting. So yeah, in terms of community updates, so I guess yeah, I'll let Heidi speak in a minute on that, and like give the community updates really quickly. But just so that all of you are aware too, we have moved Heidi's official like title to head of community. So Heidi will be taking over a lot of the Discord, a lot of the Twitter, and things like that as well too. So Heidi is the one who's Pixel's host right now. I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar with her at this point. Expect her to be like even more involved in community. She has all the freedom to do what she wants with the community. I'll still be involved a little bit, but expect her to be taking over most of that responsibility.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. I feel like you all already know me. I am Heidi. I'm hosting on the Pixels account right now. But yeah, I feel like I'm already basically the head of community. I'm already in talking with you guys. I'm on Twitter posting dumb farm puns and having a great time on Discord. So, I mean, I appreciate all of you so much. And I'm just really excited to continue to foster this culture that we've built. Yeah. So then I guess other community updates. We've talked about this a few times, but we recognize that our, appearance online and our branding isn't exactly in line with what we're building. So we have found a branding agency that we like. We will probably be moving forward with them. So that's really exciting. Merch. We've kind of come up with a really fun idea around merch to kind of, I guess you could call it a soft launch. So more on that to come. Can't speak
Oh
too much to it quite yet.
no, I think we can leak that. I'm kind of down to leak that.
I'm not. No, Luke,
No,
not yet.
well, we
Let me
should
flesh
commit
it
to
out
that.
a
No, we're
bit.
gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah. So one thing that we can do in the meantime too, which is just an interesting way to like reward you guys for being here early, is we're probably gonna be adding an in-game store. Well, we have an in-game store already, right? You'll actually be able to buy some merch from that in-game store coming up pretty soon. It's just like that's a no-brainer for us. It won't be something we make profit from. It'll just kind of be a way for us to reward you guys for the time that you put in. And if you guys want to trade your coins for some merch and some other fun things too, that'll be an option coming up pretty soon. So we'll get more info on that. And yeah, now that's said and it's facts and it's canon now, Heidi. So sorry.
It's all good. You didn't go too in depth, so I can still mess around a bit. But yeah. Okay, I just want to say that this general chat during this AMA has been popping off. Like I can barely keep up with what is going on right now, but I appreciate all of your questions. We recorded them all in another channel so that I can go through the list. So let me just quickly, I guess, speak to NFT integration. So we have so many coming, so many. And we've been busy working actually kind of updating our process so that we can whip them out even faster. So that's why there's been a little bit of a delay, but trust me, we have so many on the way. So we've been working on a couple bugs with them, but also implementing new ones. And then I know that actually perfectly starts off the questions here that I've gotten from Discord. Plans for mutant cast integration. I just checked our database and it doesn't look like we do yet. So if you're involved with the community, have them reach out. We would absolutely love to have them, but no plans as of yet. And we also have a few people already requested to come up and ask some questions. So we'll move forward with them. Lano, I know you've been waiting very patiently, so I'll bring you up first. Hey, can you hear us?
Yes. How are you guys?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
Happy to be here.
Doing good. How are you?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Of course.
So I'm up here just out of excitement. One, two. I'm a mod for Barn Owls, so I've definitely been, looking forward to everything that you guys have coming. Especially the fact that we are going to be, involved in the farm and everything.
Yes, your community on Twitter is very excited.
Thank you. Yeah, we love the owls. We fly,
Yeah.
we flock together. So we try to
Oh my gosh, I
we
love
try to
that.
make it as family oriented as possible. Definitely excited to see what's gonna come of the collaboration between the two. And excited to see everything else you guys have going as far as merch and everything like that. Also, I opened the ticket. I'm on the Alpha Vibes team. We hold spaces Monday through Friday, and I would really love if you, Luke, and the rest of the team could maybe make it through next week, and we could just continue the conversation, and just really get everybody involved. So that's really the other reason why I'm up here. I did open a support ticket already, so if you guys want to talk about it in the Discord, that's beautiful.
Oh yeah, 100% happy to do that. Always happy to hop on an AMA. Yeah, if any of you guys in the audience also have an AMA or something like that too,
Yeah.
would love to hop on. Feel free to invite
Okay.
me.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, we hold it Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. 8 p.m. PST, and it's guest oriented. So, actually, tonight we have a really cool guest. He wrote his PhD on the blockchain, and he has like the first book
Cool.
that was released on the blockchain. So if you guys want to come through tonight and kind of check it out, it's going to be a really cool episode tonight. But yeah, definitely, if we can have you and the team on sometime next week, really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. DM me on
Okay.
Discord and we can get that set
Okay,
up.
cool. And I just followed
Yeah.
you and
Cool.
Luke on Twitter as well.
Amazing.
Sweet. Okay, I
Great.
want to answer this question in Discord really quickly that I saw. How much? This
Yeah,
is really
so
important, actually.
yeah,
I just
please
answered
do.
it.
Hmm.
How much of the royalties in the mint went to the community wallet for future development? Guys, this is like one of the biggest things about this project that maybe we haven't touched on too much. 100% of the royalties, 100% of the mint that like we had to take home. We paid a couple partners from some of the work that they did around like helping facilitate the mint, but then anything that was supposed to go to the team has literally only been to the team wallet. We get paid salaries. We didn't take a cut of the mint to like pocket our own minings. Like the only stuff that we hold is like our own NFTs, which are locked. Like we've locked our NFTs too. We haven't even like exited or like liquidated any of our own NFTs. Like the team gets allocated some of the NFTs and like in a spreadsheet, but we haven't even released the NFTs that like the team gets because it's like vested like a stock in a company would be vested. So the team has literally put all of the money we've made from mint, all of the money we made from royalties back into this project. That's part of our runway, and then where we're sitting at financially too is we have about like with the team that we have over like a year and 8 months of runway too. If we made no more money from any of this as well, like no royalties, no mint, or like no other NFT, we'd be working on this for a year and a half with the current team size. That's kind of the intention. We're not going anywhere. We are going to see this vision through. We're going to be building it out. And yeah, that's kind of the intention too. So 100% of mint minus like partners paid went directly to development. 100% of royalties go directly to development.
Yeah. Awesome. It's super important. I'm really glad you addressed that. Okay. We've got next speaker coming up. Mama Kevin.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, I got a little question. I was thinking about collaborations between Pixel and other NFT projects. But if we look at if I look at the metaverse from long time ago, Habbo Hotel is one of the biggest like old metaverse that exists that now own
Mhm.
also do also NFT. But I would love to see the collaboration between you, well, between Pixel and Habbo. So like stuff of Pixel into Habbo, but also stuff of Habbo into Pixel. This I would just question if there are gonna be like bigger collabs coming or not.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is like there's so much with interoperability in the space that hasn't been explored yet. So we were really early, like we were actually probably the first to do NFT PFP interoperability. I think like us and World Wide Web 3, we're working on them at the same exact time. I think we might have actually shipped a day or two before them, but it's kind of funny because we both saw this opportunity at the same time and had like a pretty similar product. But yeah, PFP interoperability was like the first obvious use case of like, okay, people have established digital identity online. How can we let them bring their digital identity into a metaverse like experience? But then there's so much more beyond PFP integrations that we can be doing with interoperability, which we're extremely interested in. We kind of see this metaverse as more of a mesh of different IPs. And like if you're building out in the metaverse, like your own metaverse experience, it really, really matters more about like the actual core experience that you're offering more so than other gaming experience where Mario can rely so much on like their Mario or like Nintendo can rely so much on like Mario IP or if they release a Mario game, like half the reason that people buy a Mario game is for Mario, you know, where in the metaverse where everything is interoperable, where that IP and those like borders are a bit more blurry, this actual core gameplay loop and this gameplay experience is like extremely important. And it matters a lot more. So interoperability, one, it's going to get like more and more like meshed together. We're all about it. We want to be on the edge of that. We're always looking for partnerships that are creative and in that mindset of like how can we push the space a bit more. And then two, it also helps us think about more about like what our core value is that we're providing into this space as well too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for coming up. And I don't know if anyone else noticed the accidental pun in there, but the mesh comment, really enjoyed that. For those of you that don't know, Mesh was the previous company before Pixels, I guess. That was poorly worded. But anyways, all right. Blue's Clue, come on up. I think you're having trouble connecting. Okay, in the meantime, while you're connecting, we have a ton of Discord questions, so let's get on those. Wait, it seems to have worked.
Hello there.
Okay,
Can you guys hear me?
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Yes.
Hey.
So today I am in here representing TIF. We've got some questions.
Oh, hey.
So,
love TIF.
One question that I'd have is there anything more that you guys could expand on in the current guilds or like how that's going to work? Any more explanation on all that?
Yeah, so that's actually the core thing that we're like figuring out right now. And I would say it's like it's funny because we're so set on the tech side where I actually have no worries about like, can we build whatever we talk about. Now it's figuring out like okay, what are the right things to be building that really move the needle and like really engage the communities. So I guess like this isn't super fleshed out yet, but this is why we're hiring another game designer to help us figure out this loop. We want to build out mechanics that are more similar to like Clash of Clans or ways that get guilds and NFT collections involved and cooperating or competing a bit more as well too. So that's like we're fleshing out that mechanic and what that looks like, but I think that's like the missing mechanic basically. We're building this like category of social gaming right now where we have like most of the pieces to create this ecosystem. We're just kind of missing that last piece of like cooperation or competition. And I love what's happening with the guilds. That's actually something we want to encourage a lot more. And what's really interesting about this interoperability that we're doing is that we have all these collections who already kind of have guilds because they have this relation, like these NFT profile pictures. So kind of seeing what that evolves like and like really leveraging that is one of the main things that we're focused on in terms of game design and what we're building coming up.
All right. Does that mean possibly clan wars? Because I heard you say Clash of Clans. If so, I'm gonna need my dragons and Valks added into this game ASAP.
Yeah, so we're designing exactly like what that mechanic looks like in the Pixels universe, and we want to make sure that it fits like the brand and all that too, but expect some kind of similar mechanic, or at least that's like what I'm really pushing for. But that's getting designed right now, and that's something that like that's a direction that we want to be thinking about and going towards right now. What are social features that we can get into the game that like can get communities engaged and kind of close that gameplay loop. Like we need convincing reasons for you guys to actually be using the resources that you farm, and like fun ways to do around it. We think leveraging mechanics like that in that kind of style is probably the right move to go. So that's what we're pushing our game designers to be thinking about, and pushing our game designers to come up with. So that'll probably take like another week or so of ideation, probably 2 weeks if we're being realistic, before we actually get like the solid like plan around that, what that looks like, and we'll probably take like a week or two to build it. After that, maybe like 2 sprints even. But that's the general direction that we're going to be going to like close this gameplay loop. It's looking like, and we're super excited about that. It's really interesting because once you have the right things to be building, we'll be able to move on it really quickly. I've been studying so many of these companies who have like built successful games. Really interesting thing was Farmville was built in 5 weeks by their team. Supercell builds games quite quickly too, with like quite lean teams. It's interesting because sometimes in this space, in the NFT space, I think some teams get confused and they think they just need to hire 50 people and then they'll get a game built. But Clash of Clans was built with an 8-person team. I think their actual prototype was built with a 4 to 5-person team, only 4 developers. Where it's not about how many developers you have. It's not about any of that. It's really all about focusing on building the right things, designing it well, and having like honestly a lot of passion and care for what you're building. That's super important too. It has to go beyond just like wanting to build something to be successful, and that's like some of the stuff we've been talking around in terms of the team too. Of like, okay, we have this awesome tech team. We have experience building stuff, but we actually need to like start to bring some heart into it. We need to like really care about this experience that we're crafting and like really embody that as well too. So that's where the mindset is, and that's what we're building.
All right, and then the final question I have is, so I see that you guys nerfed like to 3,000 for the energy drink, but with that, you're still able to farm all day and make profit. Is there any like, are you guys gonna wait for a minute and see how that kind of goes, and then nerf it maybe a little more or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's a little obvious now to people that so this is what we're talking about when we say that like the game design team has a few gaps that we've been hiring for. Game balance is actually quite tricky. And no one in the team specialized in it right now. So we're hiring people to help us with tokenomics, which like, yeah, it's funny. There's 2 sides to this. There's tokenomics where you have to worry about balance in that. And then there's also just general game balance too. So the hire that we're making right now has experience in all of those, or at least like the hire that we're like trying to bring in should have experience in both of those things. And then the team's been making their best effort to actually like close that gap as well too. But it is a mix of like, we're doing our best to do this before we actually get like that professional help. That person on the team is hopefully coming either like end of this week or next week to like plug in all these gaps. They'll probably take them a week to get oriented, figure that out too. And then the team is also like doing their best to figure out what that balance is like as well. But that's the interesting thing about games and like this industry as well too. You gotta get the right people on the team. That's so important. So as you guys are checking out other projects and looking into other projects as well, like I'm telling you guys, it's not that easy to build a team like this. I think a lot of other projects out there, they might come off pretty cocky. They might come off like they have it together. But I'm telling you, most of this industry, in the NFT space at least, and especially play there in space, they don't have people like that. So yeah, we're hiring that right now. It's coming together, and they should be starting really soon.
All right, well, thanks for chatting with me. On that note, TIF out. Have a good day, y'all.
Thanks for coming up.
Love you, TIF.
Let's hold off on more people coming up on stage right now just because we have a lot of questions. So let's whip through them a bit. So when PAMP, proof of attendance, something like that. I think that's what that means.
What was that?
The proof of attendance?
The POAP?
No, they wrote PAMP, P-A-M-P. I think it has to do with proof of attendance. Like, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe if you wrote that question, comment it in a little bit more clear in the general chat.
Do I not know? Why do I not know what a PAMP is?
I don't know. It's fine. I asked Hans, and he thinks it has to do with the proof of attendance, but it's fine. Let's get more clarity on that. We've got a lot more, so let's go. How much of the royalties? Okay, we already talked about that one. Okay, what does a pixel land farmer look like? Will there ever be a PFP pixel farmer or an NFT in-game pixel farmer for holders, perhaps?
Yeah, so what we want to do with our own in-game avatars is do lazy minting. Eventually, we're kind of going to want to require you to have some kind of NFT to make progress, because we want to like attach in-game leveling to your NFT rather than your wallet. So what we'll have to do about that is like basically make it so that at a certain point you have to mint your own NFT, or buy one or get one like that. We want to make it low cost if we're doing that, and we want to make it really accessible. So yes, expect these avatars in game to eventually be their own NFTs, but like probably ones that like more just to keep progress in the blockchain rather than anything about like traditional NFT PFP kind of stuff. There's potential to do something fun besides that too, in terms of that. But that's kind of how we've been thinking about like our own internal like characters, turning those into PF or turning those into NFTs.
Okay. Will there be a minimum tax implemented?
Yeah, so that's something we're going to be figuring out with this new game design that we're bringing on. So game design is like quite nuanced actually, and it's funny because like if you're not familiar with the gaming space or like building out a game or a gaming studio, you really wouldn't know. When you hire a game designer, there's sometimes one game designer that can do it all. They can like just like build out every single system, in terms of like game experience, in terms of systems design, in terms of game balance, in terms of economy. But that's like basically if you were to try to hire one engineer to build out an entire application, where sometimes you're going to find that like one in a million engineer who can actually build out everything. But no, if you're building out product, you really need an engineering team that's like diverse. You need front end engineers, you need back end engineers, people with like diverse skill sets, and that's the same thing in game design too. So we're hiring a systems designer right now. That's kind of their focus, of figuring out all of this problem set. And that's like the one gap on the team that we have, I would say, where it's like, oh, if you guys are like, what's the biggest like what's the thing that's keeping you up at night? It's that. So that's been our like biggest thing that we're trying to fill in. And we've actually made like really good progress on that in the last week or so. So we're not really worried about that anymore. And it's like, yeah, the amount of talent that we have like started to interview and get in the pipeline is awesome. Now we just get to kind of choose who we get to bring on now. I don't know if I should share the tactics, but I basically sent out like hundreds of cold, or like 100 cold messages to people who were working at gaming companies that are really good, who I knew like they probably wouldn't be happy in their positions because of work-life balance, because of all of that, and was trying to poach a lot of like really talented industry people. So we've had some success with that.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and then the next question is when open world, but it's kind of just the same answer. It will come once we kind of figure out this game balance and design more.
Yeah, so the open world stuff actually is something that we're actually making moves on with the quest system, and like all of that as well too. So it's, as we're building out these other mechanics, those are actually things that can be worked on in parallel. And as we're doing this rewrite too, we're like leaving some dev capacity to like continue to build out quest and those systems as well too. The open world is actually like one of these core things to what we're building as well too. Basically in this like category of gaming that we're building out, there's like a couple of different things that we need to keep our eyes on. We need to keep eyes on like user generated content, through your farms and all of that too. That's like a huge source of like fun in this category. We need to focus on like adventuring and like questing and stuff like that too. That's typically what you see in this category. And then we need to focus on cooperation and competition. So that's the piece that we're missing. But we're going to continue to build out the like exploration side of our game, adding new areas, new zones. That's what our narrative designer and a world builder has been working on a lot. Figuring out like, okay, what's this lore look like? What are the different places that people can go? It's basically a book now, our Notion document with all of this in there. So we're super excited to get that translated into the actual gaming experience now. That's pretty like well built out now. We're really getting there.
Yeah, and speaking of our designer, one of our designers, narrators, George, he came up on the AMA last week. He wrote a note that he wants me to share with you all. Tell the community that I want to do right by them and make sure all locations are super memorable and full of detail and mystery. So there you go. Okay, we've got a ton of more questions, so let's like whip through them here. When animations? I think they just want more animations in game to make it a little bit more engaging.
Yeah, we agree with that. So
Mm-hmm.
our designer Ben right now, he's made a huge push on like making this game feel more like a game. And those are all the things that we've been talking about and trying to get more and more involved. One of the other things that this game is missing, if you are familiar with games, is it's just missing a lot of sound design. So that's like another initiative that we've been taking on as well too. Expect a lot of improvements in those areas of like how can we actually make this feel more lively, just like a more joyful experience. That's kind of what we're focused on.
Okay. When cooking.
Yeah, so cooking, there was like a few design things that we had to like figure out in terms of like what it actually looks like. We have most of the tech already built out. Now we're just finalizing like, okay, how can we actually create this in a balanced way? How can we create this in a way that's engaging and like open to creating new gameplay opportunities? So that design is getting finalized now. It should be out in the next sprint.
Okay. Will the farm manager be able to manage soil plots? I play pixels on a hot wallet, but keep my lands on a cold wallet, so I'm unable to add soil to those lands.
I think it should be able to. So that might have just been overlooked in dev. I
So
don't
for
think
now, I
that's
can't answer that.
yeah,
Only
right now,
owners
no.
can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so only owners can do that right now, but I think that's going to be a pretty easy fix to get in there. So yeah, I think that is probably a good idea to make sure that managers can also place soil on land. We'll look into that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then someone's just talking about a bug related to the Barney quest that we released today. So all of those are being actively looked at as we speak. Our dev team's been going really hard. I've been in the Discord with you guys. I've been on Twitter. I really, really appreciate all of the feedback you're giving us. And trust me, I've recorded every single piece of feedback we've gotten. So they're working really hard on that.
Yeah,
Um,
so then I'll just give a side note on that too, or like in a little bit more info on that as well too. So we have been setting up so many processes internally. Tyler's been doing an amazing job. This team has grown from 3 people to like 15, almost 20 in the course of 2 months, which I don't, if you guys know anything about like company building, that's actually insane. Where like there's some organizational stuff that we had to get organized to like just actually continue to build product and all that too. Nailed most of that. Now, I think one of the things that we need to figure out and like focus on is getting like more structured QA in progress too. So we'll probably open up something like either early access again, or we'll hire like people in QA to like actually do dedicated QA every single like week for us. So maybe if you're interested, honestly, we'll open up another channel in Discord, or like we'll brainstorm something like that. It's really fun to get people involved in our community, access to features early, and get something a bit more structured around that too. So potentially more stuff to do around there to get you guys involved. Potentially paid work as well too. We'll give you guys more info on that if we need any testers, but expect something like that.
Okay. So this is an interesting question. Will people that build up their lands, add soil plots, decorate, etc., be rewarded besides tax? I think this kind of relates to the leveling system that we've just implemented. And so far, we haven't really figured out exactly what that looks like from like a rewarding point of view. Luke, can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. So all I'll say on that, and like what we can say on that, is we will be rewarding people who are here in this ecosystem, who care about what we're building, who are like engaged with the community. That's what we want. That's like the whole point of play to earn early on, and that's the point of these NFTs. Like that's why we're in Web3. It's like an awesome ecosystem where like we all win. Where this is like really valuable stuff for us to get feedback on what we're building, to hear like thoughts, to get people actually playing our game. That's something that's like a really big hurdle for most early games to overcome. And we have that already. It's a huge advantage for us building. We want to make sure that you guys feel like it's worth it to you. We want to make sure that also you guys like what we're building as well too. So yeah, balancing both of those things is extremely important to us, and something that we're going to make a priority to get right.
Okay. Is the team thinking of releasing a farm API for developers to use? For example, I built a tool to keep track of the farms you go to, and would love to pull farm data from an API where it shows how many plots it has, percent of tax, and who the owner is, etc.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that was somebody made
Dion.
Dion, right? That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, so it's always interesting. Here's my thoughts on this actually. I have pretty like opinionated thoughts on like how open a metaverse experience should be right now and how curated it should be right now. There are a lot of companies making like very open metaverses right now, where it essentially is just like a space for you to hang out in. or just like, yeah, literally just hang out in. And I think a lot of the goals of these companies is that they create APIs or they create tooling that lets people create experiences, kind of like the Roblox model. Um, that's obviously working for Roblox, but I think this play to earn space is a bit different. And believe me, we were doing virtual spaces for a really long time. We really did think that was our play. Like we thought we were just gonna like make virtual spaces that people build and customize and kind of figure out what they do with them. Like maybe create an API where people can create experiences, but we're actually like pretty bullish on the fact now that like just creating these experiences in itself is extremely hard, and we're really focused on creating our own in-game experience first and foremost, where we can give you guys utility and we can give you guys something to actually do in this land besides just hang out. So the API stuff is really interesting, but that's probably going to be to actually creating out this gaming experience for you guys because we just know how difficult this is. And we think that's actually the best way to provide like lasting utility. Creating a game experience that people really like and enjoy, and then also like exploring different APIs and ways that we can get you guys to create your own experiences too. So basically, when we build, how we're gonna like focus on like think about building is whenever we build something, we always want to try to see if we can make a no code tool for it, at least internally. So for example, we built the map builders initially for us. Like we built them so that we could create better maps for our own team and move on it quicker. But it's something that we ended up releasing to you guys as well too. So we're always looking for features where we can like get the win-win out of that too. As we revamp our quest system, I'm really going to push for our team to focus on like getting an internal quest builder. That's something that we can eventually make external. Thinking about different like ways that you can like we can have other people plug into how we create as well too. So that's the mindset of how we build. The API stuff that you were doing, Dion, I think that's awesome. I want to chat with you one-on-one actually, and we can look into that a bit more.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I've got 3 questions I'm going to dump together. When land utility, when land traits mentioned in previous AMA, and when will land progress be tied to the actual land NFT?
When land utility, guys. Okay, I just want to give you a like picture of like what we were doing before, and like I don't know, maybe you guys aren't following the space, or maybe you guys, yeah, I just don't know. I don't even understand how we can like get that question when people ask when land utility. This tech that we built out, we literally had companies paying $10,000 to use it for a day or two. The spatial video chat that we're about to release, the like virtual spaces that you can customize and build, all of that, like there's value and utility in that. Maybe you guys don't get any out of it, but like we are going to continue to release features, we're going to continue to build, and if you guys aren't happy with what we're building, if you guys don't like the game, I guess that's an issue. But again, like as we said at the beginning of this AMA, it's extremely important for us to be building for the people who actually care about what we're building. So I know there's people in this project and even in this community who actually don't care. And I really hate to say this, but that's honestly just noise that distracts us from this vision of like what we're actually doing here. We're building a game first and foremost, and we want to make sure it's fun. We want to make sure that land is central to it. We want to make sure that we don't distract ourselves from that. So we're going to continue to build utility. There's actually a huge feature coming up pretty soon. That's going to like change a lot of things about land. We kind of want to release it in a big batch. So that's also going to be something that you guys won't see for a little bit. It'll probably, I don't know when the exact date that we're gonna have that out is. It's probably gonna be like a month or so. Looks like potentially like 2 to 3 sprints to have all of this out. But expect it to be like a whole new version of the game that comes out. We're basically gonna release like a couple features at once. There will be some changes to how land looks, what the utility is, and all of that as well too. Oh, and then okay, so you're asking for like traits like silos, windmill, and coop. Yeah, so that's actually on the roadmap right now. So yeah, expect traits like silos, windmill, coop, space, all of that to be immediately reflected into your land when this update comes out. This will basically be like the V1 update. That's actually gonna be huge. It's so big. Like we were debating like when we should release that and how we should release that. My opinion is that we should release that with other stuff too, since it's going to be so big. Expect it to be like a batched update where actually some of the progress that we're going to be making these feature sprints will be kind of behind the scenes because we're going to be working on that as we release some features out to you guys. But the main work on the game will actually be related to this update coming out. And it's going to be huge. This will basically be like an update that like adds utility to the land, changes like several things like the menus, how you build in the world, and then we'll hopefully add that last mechanic that kind of closes the loop, or at least the very first hint of it as well too with this update. That'll be huge.
Yeah, and the specific land traits and stuff.
Yeah, I think Heidi might be teasing that sometime soon too. We've like created this is kind of fun. We've created like new art specifically for each type of land, stuff like that. We'll tease that soon.
I've teased maybe I only did the in the recap of last week's AMA. I teased the space sea, but I'll put some out. They're fun. I really
Yeah.
love them.
Oh, I can't wait to see it too. I want one of our devs to just go switch the tile set now so I can see what they look like, honestly, because I'm super excited for that too.
I
It
know.
looks
I'm
sick.
so excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If I move farms from hot to cold wallets, I will lose this on retroactive staking?
I mean, we have to figure out exactly. So this is the stuff with the token that we're like figuring out with our investors and like the tokenomics person that we're going to be bringing out. Like exactly what this looks like, what the best way to do it is, and when we were thinking about like when we're talking about token design, it's so important like who the token goes to. Like I don't think that's appreciated enough when you're thinking about tokenomics, and like it's so much about like behavioral economics, psychology, all of that too. Like it's really important to get the token in the like right hands of the people. And if you have been holding land early and you've been holding it for a long time, you are the right person. That means you've had belief in this project for a long time. You really care about what we're building, and that's what we want to think about. In terms of like that token drop, I don't see it being like an exponential token drop. So if you move wallets, um, it's probably going to be something like days that you held like it goes to like a amount of token. I don't know exactly what that looks like, and I can't like make any promises. So like don't make that like a market swing. Me saying that, but just kind of expect it to be like daily of like okay, you've held this many days, you get this tokens or something like that. Again, this is like that's not alpha, but that's like what we're thinking. That's not that is subject to change. What I just said, but
Yeah,
that's the way
and
that we're
it's just
thinking
a
about it.
piece of it, really.
Yeah, so if you just expect like length of hold to matter, and if you switch wallets, it's going to be like maybe distributed on 2 wallets.
Okay. Let me see here.
Subject to change.
Subject to change. Okay. Oh, okay. You literally just answered the next question. So, will there be a competitive aspect between Farbers, a leaderboard, rewards for top farmers?
Yeah, I think that's some fun stuff that we're going to be figuring out. I think that's the best way to engage this community as we've been like deep diving into the game design, what we want this to look like, and the experience that we want to create. Um, so that's what we're looking into. And that's like kind of the fun in games too, to like add some kind of element like that too. I've been so impressed by your guys' dedication to farm, but we want to make farming a lot more fun, and we want to make this game experience a lot more fun for you guys too. Um, so we want to add content beyond just farming and seeing who can like grind the most. What we don't want to create a grinding simulator. We want to create like an actually fun game experience. And that's like what this team is working so hard on, and that's like what we feel so like compelled to get you guys.
Okay, I like this next question a lot. Game culture. Stardew Valley is clean cut, wholesome, and whimsical. Old school RuneScape is definitely not safe for work, but doesn't allow homophobic, ableist, or other discriminatory language. What kind of culture do you guys envision for Pixels?
Do you want to answer that, Heidi?
I mean, I feel like we're already kind of in the works of fostering a similar vibe to Stardew Valley in the way that it's like wholesome, and we try to keep any hate, any discriminatory language out of our general chats and like those sorts of things. And I'm posting farming jokes and cute fun things and throwbacks. Like we're definitely trying to make this more like a it's like I like to think of it as like a meditative family fun game, if that makes any sense, those words coming together. But this is also something that we're actively working on. So when I say that we're working with a branding studio, this is a piece of it. That messaging that we publish and we create and like how we show up to you guys is a part of it. Everyone on the team, including our community members, our our like us as a team, and then all of you, we want us all to share this like same culture and like vibe, and that it's still in the works, and it will always be in the works because it's going to be an ever evolving project. But yeah, so working with the branding studio, they will definitely help us on that as well. But if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it.
Mhm. Culture is so important to this team. I have
Mm-hmm.
interviewed personally like probably 200 people over the last like couple of months. We only have a team of like 15 to 20 right now. And a lot of people have failed the culture interview because especially being in this industry, especially being in this space, it's extremely important for everybody to follow like the kind of culture that we're trying to create. We want one that's like really inclusive. We want somewhere that like people feel really welcomed at. Um, we don't want to be like, yeah, it's funny. We don't want to be mentioning drugs. We don't want to be mentioning like things that aren't suitable for work. We want like to have like a really friendly and wholesome feeling. We want people to feel good when they're in this community. We want people to feel energized. We want people to feel like respected and I don't know, like loved and meditated. Um,
Yeah,
that's kind of the goal.
absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, inclusivity is a huge part of it, especially for me personally. You know, being a woman in Web3 and NFTs and crypto, it's not easy, and we're still working on making it a more inclusive space. So honestly, every time I see a female pop up in the general chat, I get so excited. So we're just trying to make it as welcoming as possible. And also, a huge vision of ours is to become, you know, one of the easiest ways for people outside of Web3 to get into it. You know, and to do that, we can't be, you know, like a crypto boys club. You know, we need to be welcoming to every person from every background. So our culture is extremely important. So thank you for asking that question. I really appreciate that. um yeah, so hopping back to it, when heart beats or next plant. So Heartbeats is a plant that we have teased a lot, mostly because I'm obsessed with it. I think it's going to be my favorite one for sure, partially because it's pink. Um, I think Hans actually just, if you look at our general chat, I think he posted, if you scroll up a bit, a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like. I don't think we have a definitive date for that yet, correct?
I don't know if we have a date, but I don't see why we should be holding it back. It should probably come out soon. It's funny because we can actually release new crops really easily. We actually can release new crops without writing any new code. So expect when it's ready, especially when cooking comes out, to have like a lot more options around those kind of things. And then we're also working on thinking about, okay, how do we add other ingredients or like farm animals, things like that as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So expect the amount of items and the choices that you have to make to explode quite soon. And I'm sorry if that stresses you guys out, but it'll be fun to make all those choices, what you actually need to spend your time farming and how you spend your energy. So excited for that.
Yeah. And so another thing to quickly talk about, we've been discussing a lot about how we can, this actually goes back to culture a bit, but like fostering this Discord specific community. So we've been brainstorming different roles. So far, we've just had like a goat role. But we're going to move to some more other ideas that we're still fleshing them out. So I'm not going to speak to them too much. But in the meantime, this I think Sophia, I'm sorry if I messed that up. She's been very adamant on being pink. And honestly, I want to be pink too, but unfortunately, because I'm a Pixels team member, I have to stay blue. But that kind of like got us talking about why can't we just have people choose their own colors? So we created a fun little channel called Choose a Color. And so far there are 4 that you can choose. I have selected pink, although it does not actually show up. Um, and yeah, just kind of like a fun little thing. And we've been brainstorming like different fun games we can do with you on Discord and all of that. So yeah, Sophia said poor you. Yeah, I know, poor me. Okay, I want to be pink too. So yeah, anyways, kind of fun little things like that. Heidi's heart on a grill. Thank you, thank you. Anyways, so it looks like those are all of the questions we have for today. This has been a little overwhelming, but amazing. You guys have been popping off on the general chat. Really, really appreciate every single question you've asked us. If you have any last minute questions, please throw them in the general chat and tag me. I'm Heidi underscore pixels, or sorry, pixel underscore Heidi. And we'll take a look. But yeah, thank you so much. This has been great.
Yeah, really fun AMA today, guys. Glad we got all this out too. Very, very excited.
If you scroll up a bit, Hans posted like, those videos of like water leaking out of a bin. It was like an infomercial and he slapped tape on it. And he's like Heidi trying to keep Luke from leaking.
Oh, I love giving good news.
Oh my gosh. Oh, someone's saying
part.
their grills gang is showing up a little bit. Yeah, they're on the list. They're coming.
Yeah, somebody might have been experimenting with that in a dev environment. Interesting.
Yeah, well, there's some alpha there coming. I mean, I think I've tweeted about it already, so it depends on how much you pay attention. But yeah, they're on the way and they look hilarious. I think they're such a funny collection, so I'm very excited about it.
All right,
Yeah.
here's a question. Will Pixels make any big marketing moves in the future? Obviously. The whole point is we're trying to make a like giant game experience. We want to go mass market. We want to create a game that appeals to like a ton of different people. Like we're thinking about like like Axie Infinity trajectory. We're thinking about like Supercell, like Clash of Clans trajectory. Like that's the kind of game and the scale that we're trying to be building at. And that's exactly what we're thinking about. Guys, I let me stress this about the team. This team right here, most like literally everyone in this team can go out and like work at Apple, work at Google, make like 200 to like 400 grand a year if they wanted to. They don't have to be working on this project. They could be making so much money outside of it. The reason that this team is here is because they really believe in what we're building. They're also going to like partake in some of that reward too. That everybody has equity. We have skin in the game, basically. Like we all are really convinced that this is like the right thing to be spending our time on. We're all working so hard, and like that's why we're doing this. Like we're not here just to like mess around. We're not here to like screw off in a year. Like there's a big opportunity cost for all of us working on this, and like we all feel very convinced that this is the right thing for us to be spending our time on.
Absolutely. Okay. I forgot about the land managers earning sharing. So I think he's asking about like, will managers benefit from being a manager on a land? So something at the moment, we kind of are thinking of this for like collections. You're helping your collection build out their land and all of that. At the moment, all of your managers are subject to your tax rate, but we've discussed maybe they get like a lower tax to farm on your land. So that's an idea we have. If you have any other ideas, would love to hear them.
Yeah, I like the profit sharing idea. That's something we can explore. That wouldn't be too
Yeah.
hard to make that configurable, which actually kind of makes sense too. I think that's kind of how the Yield Guild scholarship works. You get like, yeah, so we can look into that as well too.
It's an interesting one. Okay, if the game opens up to community quests and such, will there be a vetting process? How will you ensure community-made quests and rewards remain game balance and uphold this wholesome culture?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about user-generated content, especially when you're dealing with like on-chain or like even just like even if it's not in chain, like the Web3 philosophy or the Web3 or crypto ethos of like user-generated content becomes like quite a mess, honestly. And that's not something anybody's really figured out. Like even ENS, like domains, they're having a huge issue with like on-chain content moderation where people are getting like sent hate messages through ENS domains and stuff like that too. And it's like, what can you even do about that? Where on-chain content moderation becomes quite tricky. Like all these Polygon NFTs that get sent to people as spam, things like that too. That's something that we're very, very aware of. We're actually making like our initial moves on that as well too. Where like it's funny, it did not take that long for people to start like drawing penises in their
Oh
like
my
farm
God.
builders and things like that. We really should have saw that coming sooner, but obviously that's like kind of the like case of user generated content where you need to be worried about that. You need to be thinking about that. So we've already released some features that like you can actually report farms right now and like flag it, and they'll give you a warning if you like are about to enter a farm that doesn't have like safe for work content in it. Yeah, it's a balance of moderating and respecting like not going too far in censorship too, and then also like when we're actually like fully on chain. Luckily, being on chain and having everything like on chain as well too still means that we can still like like we can be a layer to like view what's on chain, where we can still like kind of think about how we want to moderate how you actually view that on chain layer. So maybe even data exists on chain, who are saying, hey, we don't want our players to like very easily be able to look at this on-chain data, or we want to at least give a warning and stuff like that too. We'll still have that power as a like game server too. And as we move more and more decentralized, if people don't like that stance that we're taking, and we like open source our code, you know what? Maybe make a branch of our code that doesn't have that kind of stuff in there. That's kind of the way that we're thinking about it. But yeah, as we foster this community, this Web3 community is not always the most inclusive, and we don't always love some of the things that they create. If we're being completely honest, there's great things about it. Web3 is awesome, but then also we want to make sure that we're still creating an environment that people feel like they can be themselves in, that they feel comfortable in, and it's just like inclusive in general too. So balancing that's tricky, but definitely top of mind. We've talked about this a lot here at the team.
Yeah. Amazing. So thank you all for your questions. Doesn't look like there's any more coming. The only person typing is Tyler. So with that being said, thank you all so much. If you have any other questions, please post them in the general chat, and one of us or one of our community members will get back to you as soon as we can. See, Tyler's now asking to be green. Okay, maybe we should let us be different colors. Okay.
No.
Thank you guys. Yeah, great AMA. Thank you all so much.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
so much, guys. Really appreciate you all.